Hey gang, we're back, Asheville Music and Revolution, episode 6. It's unbelievable. I'm here on the street in front of the General Mast Store with somebody who has got so much history. He's Mr. Asheville himself, Lyle Rickards, a busker. You've been here, Lyle, how long have you been playing on the street?
Alan, I've been playing here for about 8 years straight.
8 years straight?
Yeah, right here at this spot.
And are you still loving it?
I do, yeah,
Okay.
I love it a lot. It's kind of, somehow it's become who I am.
Yeah, and so you're really well known. I mean, people know you. You know, you're sort of the face of Asheville. In fact, they just came out with a street performers pamphlet that tells buskers how to do all
That
sorts of
handsome
stuff.
devil.
And who's that on the front cover?
That's me.
Looks like you. And then they got another picture of you. Those are your hands. So the photographer must have liked you.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. So, first of all, I want to, before we get into a little bit about the busking scene and all that, like, who's Lyle Rickards? Like, how'd you get into music? Where'd you start?
Who's Lyle Rickards? Well, let me see. Well, I'm from Pennsylvania originally.
Okay.
And lived there most of my life. I'd say I always played music in my life. I always started playing music when I was about 15 or 16, started playing, discovered the dulcimer and kind of fell in love with it. And I did the normal thing, you know, went to college for a little bit, tried to be an artist, tried to do a lot of other things in business and things like that. Nothing ever really stuck.
Yeah.
And music was always kind of a full-time thing for half a living. And I decided about 15 years ago to hit the road. I bought a motorhome, and I was always playing shows and always, like, you know, coffee houses and busking. I've done off and on for years and years and years in my hometown of New Hope, Pennsylvania, and it just kind of fit this traveling lifestyle to be able to travel and make enough money for whatever you needed, gas or food, and I found that in this economy these days, if I was going to be broke, I was going to do it playing music.
That's great.
And so I've been traveling for years.
And you've made a living on it. You're here alive to tell us about it, right?
Yeah, like I said, full-time, half a living. But in order to play music, I think a lot of us have to cut our overhead as much as possible. So I don't have an apartment. I live in my motorhome.
Okay.
I don't pay. I pay a nominal rent to where I park right now. But I spent most of my last 7-8 years like parking lots, Cracker Barrels, Walmarts. But you know, I'm not mortgaged or married.
And then you put out a hat, or you put out your case?
I put out my case usually.
Yeah,
I got a bucket today because it's
the
wind. In the wind, it tends to blow out of the case.
Yeah. And the General Mast Store, they like you.
Mass General has been really good to me and other buskers for years. They've been very, very pro busker in Asheville, as well as a lot of other shops, and the whole city is very proactive for busking.
So, what kind of music do you play right now? What do you play on the street here?
I play mostly old time and bluegrass music, a little bit of Irish music, singer-songwriter, folk music.
Okay.
I used to rock out. I still rock out every once in a while, but I kind of found the old time music to be suitable for me and my constitution.
That's great. And so you've been here on the streets of Asheville for about 8 years, so you've seen some of the busking scene develop. And we always got to compete with the motorcycles. But you've also become an advocate for buskers too. You just don't, it's not only about you, it's about the whole scene. You kind of feel like kind of ownership of the scene, right?
I don't say I own it, but you know, when I started busking here, it was by accident. I was traveling around, and I'd gone through Asheville a few times in my life traveling, but never really spent a lot of time here. And I had heard about the busking scene in Asheville that was already established. Yeah. And it seemed to be kind of a mecca on the grapevine where you could go and play music and not get hassled.
Right.
Whether it be like having to get a permit or but it's illegal.
Right.
And I broke down. I was coming up from Old Fort up the hill of the mountain,
Yeah.
and I ended up in Black Mountain overheating.
No kidding.
And then I ended up in Asheville, and I started busking to pay for a broken motorhome.
Oh,
and,
my God.
It stuck.
Oh.
I ended up meeting a lot of the buskers here. I met really the matriarch of busking here, a woman named Abby, the Spoon Lady. Everybody's probably heard of her.
Yeah.
And
Were you
she
friends? Were you friends with her at all?
Yes, we were very, very close
Yeah.
friends, and she kind of showed me the ropes, and she was the real founder amongst with a few other people like Andrew Fletcher, who's involved with City Council here,
Right.
to promote busking to the level that it is.
Yeah.
And we've maintained this
Kind of collective.
this collective of
Yeah.
the Asheville Buskers Collective, where the city doesn't do it for us. You know, we don't have permits here. We don't have
Right.
to do anything. We developed a code of conduct amongst ourselves. Any new buskers that come in are surprised about the way we do it.
Yeah.
You know, we do like a time period, a honor system amongst ourselves.
What's that? Like a 2 hours?
We do a 2-hour. We do a
Okay.
2-hour busk, not more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
And,
And
you'll
so you
see.
don't monopolize one spot.
Yeah, there's no monopoly, and it also gives every busker a chance to get a good spot. And
Yeah.
you'll see buskers waiting out a good spot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Me and Charlie did that the other day, by the way. Charlie was doing our video. He's a busker too.
Right on.
We waited out at the Flatiron until the lady
Yeah.
split, and then we took that.
Yeah, it's much better to wait for a good spot than to say play 100 feet away.
Yeah.
And it cuts both your monies in half. And
So-
then there's not like a lot of, it gives everybody a showcase.
So this has some of the local etiquette they put in. That's etiquette you developed, basically, right?
It's pretty simple stuff.
Yeah. 2 hours. Watch your crowd size. Make sure they aren't spilling into the street. Keep your amps turned down. Okay, let's talk about that. You're an acoustic player,
I'm an acoustic player.
and so now there's battery powered amps, and louder. We know louder is not necessarily better.
Well, with the technology getting better for amps and battery power
Yeah.
and all that, there is a newer group of musicians that are coming in that
Yeah.
are playing with a lot more people with amps and mics
Yeah.
and looping stations and backing tracks.
Right.
We support that, and
We
we
meaning
encourage
you or some
the
other-
collective, and
Yeah,
we will. It can't all be one kind of music in the city.
Right.
We promote diversity in the music. You'll see blues, you'll see jazz, you'll see jug band, you'll see vaudeville. You'll see
Right.
a variety.
So you're okay with people using amps, but they gotta keep it. They gotta keep a handle on it.
Well, I think busking, for the most part, is close-up magic. And
Close-up magic.
If you are, I have a very, very quiet instrument.
Yeah,
and
super.
but I have found that it creates more attention. Like what's that old story? If you want to get somebody's attention, whisper.
Yeah.
And it becomes a soundtrack as you walk by, not as you walk by a half a block away.
Right.
And I have two things going for me. I have an unusually weird instrument-looking thing,
Yeah.
so it's visually attractive.
Yeah.
And you can just barely hear it. You want to get people up close. You want to get people
Right.
to that tip bucket, and by playing loud, sometimes it will somewhat make people go
Right.
around you because of
Yeah.
levels. So, but we
So that's
encourage
your
and support,
approach.
and
You support people who play with amps.
sure, it just you have to keep it down a little bit,
Yeah.
just because
This is the elderly statesman now we're hearing giving the other
I'm not an elder.
buskers
Don't.
advice. Like, hey, you want to make it on the street. I've been here for 8 years, says Lyle. Keep your volume down, damn it.
Yeah,
right?
well, I found that.
Charlie, you'd agree with that, right?
Keep the volume down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I found that if it's down, you won't get complaints from other stores. I mean, the
Right.
2-hour rule is not just for us.
Yeah.
It's for the store or restaurant that we're playing in front of.
Right.
And we encourage new buskers.
Yeah.
So, I've seen buskers like come in and they're young and don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they don't make any money,
Right.
or they don't make enough, and
Yeah.
they're discouraged. But we encourage them to keep it up, and then
Right.
next year they're a little better. And I found that like buskers that are all amped up, one, it's a pain to lug all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's a 2-hour rule. That's including setup and breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I find that after a couple of years, they get it, that it's
Right.
close up, and that you want a crowd around you.
Yeah.
And it's engagement. You're looking at people. You
Yeah.
know, you're talking to people.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about busking, than compared to the stage. If we're on a stage, you have this barrier.
Right.
And so you're performing, but you're not connecting as much.
Yeah.
And I found that busking is the best connection musically
Yeah.
that I can find. And that works for me, say, at a gig. Now,
Yeah.
I've learned this process of capturing an audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, this is not take anything away from you, but, Lyle knows also, besides being a broadcaster, I'm also a musician's lawyer, and I volunteered to represent buskers for free if you get hassled on the street for one reason or another. And the ordinance, as far as I've seen it so far, the noise ordinance, as to how it limits your sound, is pretty vague. It's vague enough to where if it ever had to be challenged in court, it would probably be found unconstitutional. Directions that limit sound, and there's actually a Supreme Court case called Ward versus Rock against racism. It's a Supreme Court case, and I don't forget, it might have been Justice Douglas who wrote the opinion, but he wrote this beautiful thing about how music has been the expression as important as political speech since the days of Aristotle.
Sure.
And it just is a beautiful thing. And basically what the Supreme Court said was, music is as protected as political speech under the First Amendment. So if you're playing out on the street, you have the First Amendment guarding you, and right now, I hate to tell this to Asheville, but the noise ordinance is somewhat vague, and I don't think it could actually, they'll try to enforce it, but, but the same what you're saying is try to remember everybody else when you're playing, and, and on the effect you have in your environment.
I think it's a matter of what the collective tries to do is try to put out that fire before it goes to paper like that, before it goes to a constitutional issue.
Yeah. Right.
We amongst
I know you guys
ourselves,
think that
our
way.
code of conduct is, keep it polite, keep it engaging, keep it fun, and the noise ordinance, it's a complaint-driven ordinance for the most part here in Asheville.
Right.
It's not somebody walking around with a decimal meter and like the decimal police. There's a sound ordinance officer and like a department, and it's a complaint-driven. So if they get a complaint, they will listen to that busker and decide.
Right. Whether it's.
But we have a very good relationship with that noise ordinance officer.
Yeah.
Now that noise ordinance isn't particularly for buskers.
Right.
Since COVID, a lot of restaurants moved outside, a lot of venues moved outside, a lot of entertainment moved outside because it was the only thing that we could do.
That's right.
And so it was really for that, some of the bigger venues in town, like Rabbit, or the Salvage Station, or even the Peel.
Yeah.
If it gets too loud, he gets a complaint. I have a good relationship with them where they will call me and tell me about a complaint, and I can go over to that busker and kind of put that fire out before it goes to paper. Because we want to have a good working relationship with the city, because if we don't do it right, the city's going to do it for us eventually.
That's right.
And other cities have adopted permit systems that don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You told me I could have the honor of playing with you.
You want to play?
As
Another's talking.
I said Wayne's World. I'm not worthy. But
well, with no rehearsal, we'll figure this out. Now, I've watched Alan play in his band a few times, and what I like about buskers too is that we're all, excuse my French, we're all rather incestuous, and you'll find that in the afternoons you'll see solo buskers, and they're playing for solo money.
That's great.
And then in the evenings, you'll see like what we call super groups, and everybody starts to know each other's stuff, and it's funner at night more exposure and it's much more, where you have more of a footprint when you have a bigger band.
Right,
So
sure.
that's the fun stuff for us. We have to split that money up. So sometimes with a 4 or 5 piece of band, you ain't making much.
Right.
And that's just for the damn joy of the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Well, let's do a couple of your tunes. Okay?
All right, this is a mountain dulcimer. I'm gonna see now. This is a traditional instrument, but I'm gonna, since Alan, I know Alan likes the blues, so we'll try something like this. Did Letta Belly write this? Sitting on top of the world. Got it. Was a dark and cloudy day. My baby left me, Lord, you went away. When she's gone, I don't worry. When I'm sitting on top of the world. They called me up on telephone. They come back, baby, where you belong. Now she's gone, I don't worry. When I'm sitting on top of the world. Like my peaches, don't shake the tree. Stay out of my garden, let my peaches be. Well, now she's gone, I don't worry. I'm sitting on top of the world. Oh, well, I'm sitting on top of the world. One more. Well, I'm sitting on top of the world. 1, 2, 3, 4. Was a dark, warm, cloudy day. My baby left me, Lord went away. Now she's gone, I don't worry. Well, sitting on top of the world.
I recognize that foot.
The foot! I didn't see the foot!
I like the foot is coming. You know, you need some more of these kind of things, like Angelina Baker, right? You know that one?
Yeah, it's an old tradition. That's kind of one of the first tunes I probably ever played on this thing.
Yeah. What key you do that in?
In the key of G right now.
Okay, sure.
line baker, and the line is gone. Well, let me hear her beat till her feet on your jawbone. First time that I saw her at the county fair, Daddy changed my halfway home, told me to stay there. And the line baker, and the line is gone. Well, let me hear her beat till her feet on your jawbone. And the line baker, and the line I say, well, and the line, fine, I'm gone away. First time I saw her at the county fair, she took her halfway home, told me to stay there. And your line baker, and the line is gone. Well, let me hear her weep a tear, beat on your jawbone. Last time that I saw her on a big dream, I swore I had love for her, beats I couldn't sing. And the line baker, and the line gone. Well, let me hear her weep a tear, beat on your jawbone. Angel line baker, angel line I say, angel line, bound and gone away. Angel line baker, angel line is gone. Well, let me hear beat a tear, beat on the word.
Yeah, I'm having so much fun. I'm sorry we talk so much. We should have just played more.
Well, that's always I always feel.
Well,
I
you
think
got
I'm a storyteller by
you
I
got a
think by
couple
nature.
couple
but-
more you want to do, or one more, or whatever.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, one more. Yeah, let's do one more.
Y'all didn't see that on the thing because the tip bucket's in front of the in back of the camera, but we got tipped a few times. I'll split that money with you, Alan.
No, it's fine.
We're a super group now.
Super group. You sound
stage
good, man. You are really you kick on that thing, man.
I've developed a style. Dulcimer players. The dulcimer is an oddball little instrument.
And yeah,
and
I love your singing too.
it's usually played. It's really a back porch instrument. It's a parlor instrument for the most part. But as a busker, I've had to play really loud. So if you can see the damage on this thing, it's starting to look like Willie's guitar. This is a folk craft dulcimer, and they give me these dulcimers. They're wonderful people, and I beat them up. But I play really loud, and
it's great. Well, hey,
I am no Gene
I don't
Ritchie
call
on
that really loud, actually.
As a dulcimer player, I've gone to dulcimer festivals, and usually it's like people playing. But I play. So I play really loud.
Yeah. You do Cumberland Gap, right? You know that.
Yeah, I do that one. Want to do that?
Let's try that.
All right. Let me get me proper too. I think I went out and it was weather.
Sure.
That's also a busker's nightmare is weather. You know, we're out here, you know, in the cold and the sun and in the heat and the rain, and instruments take a licking for sure, as we do too.
Oh, I wanted to mention the Buskers Collective is going to be meeting next Tuesday. Hope 5:30 or 6:30.
At the Crow and Quill in Asheville. The Crow and Quill.
Crow and Quill.
Yep, it's a great little
if you're
bar.
a busker, come on out.
Come on out. Let's all get together. It's been a while since we all said hello to each other instead of just in passing or waiting somebody out. Let's get together and talk.
All right.
One of these days, I think we'll do a busker meeting where we'll all go like bowling or something, or roller skating. Yeah.
I think I'll sit that one out.
Cumberland Gap. In G. Woo! Thunder's applause.
Right.
Stop Marty.
Thank you all, Asheville Music and Revolution. We're here today with Lyle Rickards, the master busker on the,
The masked busker. Perfect. I never heard that one.
on the streets of Asheville, and come out and join them. And there's going to be a meeting of the Asheville Collective, at Buskers Collective, next Tuesday at Crow and Quill.
Yep.
Crow and Quill. So yeah, take care. We'll see you soon. Another show coming up.
Busk hard.